Good morning. Welcome, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Are we ready? Shall we get started? We have all of you in the room, and we have also many colleagues joining us from online, so this is a hybrid meeting. My name is Simel Eşim. I lead the ILO, the International Labour Organization's cooperative portfolio, along with the social and solidarity economy portfolio, and it's my pleasure to be moderating this opening session with esteemed speakers that are around the podium with us. The event is organized by COPAC. COPAC is the Committee on the Promotion and Advancement of Cooperatives. This is a multilateral committee that includes UN agencies as well as the international cooperative movement. So as its members, it has UN DESA, it has the International Labour Organization, it has the International Trade Center, it has the FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization of the UN, and it has UNRIST, which is a Social Development Research Institute of the UN, along with the International Cooperative Alliance. As you are aware, the UN has declared 2025 as the International Year of Cooperatives, recognizing the significant contributions of cooperatives to social and economic development globally. Many thanks to the governments of Mongolia and Kenya for co-sponsoring this resolution. And today's event aims to set the stage for what will be 1.5 years of exciting events highlighting the theme, Cooperatives Build a Better World. We hope to deepen our understanding of what to expect from this second United Nations International Year of Cooperatives. We had one, the first one in 2012, so it's now been going to be 13 years since then, and what has changed, and how can member states, UN organizations, cooperative movement, financial institutions, and others actively contribute to advancing cooperatives for sustainable development. In this opening session, we are privileged to have an esteemed set of speakers who will share their insights and perspectives on the role of cooperatives and its impact on society and economy. Please join me with a hand of applause in welcoming our first speaker, His Excellency Ambassador Ankbayar Nyamdor, who is the permanent representative of Mongolia to the UN. It's his first event in this new role. He will be presenting his credentials to the UN Secretary General this afternoon. Welcome. The floor is Your Excellency.
Thank you, moderator, such a warm introduction of me. Esteemed Madam Paula Narvaez, President of ECOSOC, Excellencies, and distinguished delegates and guests. My delegation is very pleased to co-organize this soft launch event for the 2025 International Year of Cooperatives at the United Nations, together with the Committee for the Promotion and Advancement of Cooperatives on the occasion of the International Day of Cooperatives and on the sidelines of high-level political forum. Cooperatives are the people-centered enterprises, bringing people together in a more democratic and equal way. And contribution of cooperatives to socio-economic development is widely recognized. Nowadays, there are about 3 million cooperatives, and 12% of workers worldwide are either employed by cooperative or are owner within a cooperative. According to the 2023 World Cooperative Monitor, top 300 large cooperatives in the world generate over 2.4 trillion US dollar in revenue, while providing many essential goods and services. Many cooperatives and the secondary and tertiary institutions have integrated the SDGs in their work programs and are reporting on its implementation. Among the social and economic contributions of cooperatives at all levels, I want to highlight the inclusive nature of the cooperative enterprises which support the Sustainable Development Goals' main concept of leaving no one behind. Cooperatives in their various forms promote the fullest possible participation in the economic and social development of local communities and all people, including women, young people, older persons, persons with disabilities, and indigenous peoples, whose inclusion strengthens economic and social development and contribute to the eradication of poverty and hunger. Distinguished delegates, as a strong supporter of cooperative issues since late 1960s, Mongolia has been relentlessly supporting discussions and documents of the UN system organizations on cooperative development. And since 1981, we have been the main co-sponsor of the General Assembly biannual resolution on the role of cooperatives in social development. We deem that the resolution has been greatly contributing to the global cooperative movement. For instance, the last Cooperatives in Social Development resolution initiated by my delegation at the Third Committee was co-sponsored by 101 member states and an adopted resolution 175 on 19th December 2023. Moreover, the first International Year of Cooperatives celebrated in 2012 had a huge successes in promoting cooperatives and raising awareness of their contribution to the implementation of the development goals at national, regional, and international levels. Given this positive experience, we call to proclaim another International Year of Cooperatives in 2025 under the theme, Cooperatives Build a Better World. And the General Assembly resolution was adopted as on the date. Today, we are encouraging fellow member states and institutions to form national and regional committees that will take the lead in organizing events and activities commemorating and celebrating the International Year of Cooperatives 2025 until its official launch is scheduled in November 2024 in New Delhi during the ICA Global Cooperative Conference. Distinguished delegates, among our national efforts aimed at developing and supporting cooperatives, I would like to mention one of the most recent activities happening in Mongolia. In April 2024, only 3 months ago, the government of Mongolia launched the program New Cooperative as a part of its midterm development policy, New Recovery Policy. The new cooperative program will mostly focus on agriculture, developing risk-resistant nomadic, semi-nomadic, and intensive livestock husbandry and conducting of livestock production through cooperatives. And if I would like to take this opportunity, I would like to thank the countries who have made a contribution and donations to our people because we had a huge sod experience, the harsh winter experience, and then we lost almost 8.5 million livestock animals, and then I'm thankful for all the governments that you are presenting. Since the launch of the new cooperative program, 2,500 cooperatives have been established nationwide. As of June, investment loans of 16.1 billion Mongolian currencies have already been granted to 157 cooperatives, and requests for additional 256 cooperatives are being reviewed by the commercial banks. With the successful implementation of the program, income, social security, and well-being of herders will be stabilized and improved, and the overall ability of the livestock sector to adapt climate change and manage risk will be further enhanced. Distinguished guests, at the end, I would like to note that as a moderator said, this event is particular to me as it is the first event at which I am giving a speech in a capacity of Mongolia's new permanent representative to the United Nations. Thus, I assure my own and my delegation's full support and cooperation, which, as my predecessors did as well, with the cooperative enterprises and stakeholders, including the Committee for the Promotion of Advancement of Cooperatives and International Cooperative Alliance, for the development of the global cooperative movement and for the successful implementation of the International Year of Cooperatives as well. I thank you for your attention.
Many thanks, Ambassador. We hope this to be a very auspicious start to your term as permanent representative of Mongolia to the UN in New York, and we count on your continued support to advancing co-ops for sustainable development in the years ahead, especially next year. It's not just the International Year of Cooperatives, but also International Year of Peace, and we have to make those linkages. Key events coming up like Financing for Development, World Social Development Conference. So we hope to be able to continue counting on your support. Our next speaker is Her Excellency Ms. Nyambi Kim Yungu. She's the Charge d'Affaires at the Permanent Mission of Kenya to the United Nations. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Simel, and good morning to all of you. It's really great to be here, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank John Wilmoth, UNDESA, in charge of UNDESA Director, in charge of social development. Yeah. Can you hear me, or do I?
Maybe both.
Okay, all right. That's part of cooperation. And Dr. Ariel Guaco, ICA President, and the representative of Mongolia. And welcome, Karibu, as we say, Your Excellency Anakbaya Nyamdo. And it's good to have you here, and we are looking forward to working very closely with you. And for also the insightful remarks and the highlights that you have provided, which as co-sponsors of the resolution for the commemoration of the International Year of Cooperatives for 2025, we totally concur with you. And to also say that we are looking forward to the keynote address by Her Excellency Paula Naves, President of ECOSOC, who we continue to work with very closely, and to Gilbert Hangbo, Director General, ILO. And all of you who are here, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the UN Committee for the Promotion of Advancement of Cooperatives, COPAC, and the Permanent Mission of Mongolia, I thank all member states and colleagues who are cooperators, as we said yesterday during the launch, the reception prior to the soft launch of for this function. That we are all here because we are believers in the power of the cooperatives. Many of us, as I said yesterday during the event, have in one way or another been touched by the cooperative spirit. It's either for some of us, like for me, my grandparents were members of the cooperative sector, cooperative societies. Either there was agriculture, some were supporting housing, some were supporting education. So that's why some of us are here. For me, I believe that's one of the reasons why I'm here, because cooperatives play that important role of pushing people out of poverty and into wealth creation. So cooperatives really are people-centered. And that's why I give that example of my own experience. They have supported the socio-economic development of states and communities for centuries, and are a reminder to the international community that it is possible to pursue both economic stability, viability, and social responsibility and socioeconomic development. It is against this background that the United Nations member states unanimously proclaimed the year 2025 as another International Year of Cooperatives. And it provides that 2025 International Year of Cooperatives again provides us with an opportunity to start closing in the gaps, including ensuring that even the younger generation is also sold to the idea of cooperatives. Cooperatives play an important role in agriculture produce processing, transport, housing, wholesale and resale trade, marketing, savings, mobilization, and financial inclusion with large footprints in all the sectors of the economy. Kenya, through the bottom-up economic transformative agenda framework, has placed cooperatives as a critical pillar in powering economic transformation and achieving our sustainable development goals. Cooperatives indeed provide a very sustainable way of achieving the 2030 agenda and SDGs, which we know we are not doing very well as an international community. And to this end, I would like to also mention here that Kenya, we have established a specific ministry that deals with cooperatives, cooperative development, and it is linked to the Department of Small Medium Enterprises, again, very critical component of the cooperatives. Kenya's cooperative sector controls approximately 43% of the country's GDP. Currently, there are approximately 15,000 registered cooperatives with around 12 million members. That's 12 million out of 50 million or so, so you're really talking about more than a fifth of our population. Cooperative societies also provide employment opportunities for over 300,000 people and offer self-employment opportunities to many more. Among the cooperatives sectors, savings and credit cooperatives, what we call SACCOs, have experienced remarkable growth in mobilizing savings. I need to mention here, it's important I mention here that the cooperative sector was established in Kenya in 1908. So we are talking about more than 100 and plus years of cooperative development. And we have seen, for example, mobilization of resources. Like, for example, last year, by March 2023, the cooperative society had mobilized resources of about $4.2 billion US. So that gives you an idea of what impact we are talking about. Globally, at least 12% of the world population are members of any of the 3 million cooperatives on Earth, providing jobs or work opportunities and the services and infrastructure society needs to thrive. In Africa, cooperatives had made a notable contribution to the African economy by creating 2.3 million cooperative-driven occupations and 5.6 million jobs by 2015, according to the ICA Africa report of 2022. In conclusion, cooperatives play an important role in public mobilization to stimulate economic growth. In their various forms, they promote the fullest possible participation in the economic and social development of local communities and all people, including women, young people, older persons, and persons with disabilities, and contribute to the eradication of poverty and hunger. Concerted efforts are required to strengthen the entrepreneurial ecosystem for cooperatives, enabling them to further contribute directly to decent employment generation, education, social protection, universal health coverage, financial inclusion, and the creation of affordable housing options in line with the Resolution 78/175 adopted in December 2023. Kenya looks forward to actively participate in the ICA Global Cooperative Conference that will take place in November 25 to 30 in India, and we in New Delhi, India, and also will be an opportunity to launch the International Year of Cooperatives 2025. And we also look forward to having a number of events and activities in preparation towards November 2024, and also in celebrating the International Year of Cooperatives 2025. I thank you very much. Asanteni. Thank you.
Many thanks, Ambassador Kinyongo. Kenya does not only have a vibrant cooperative movement, including in the banking sector, but you have been working towards building a conducive environment for cooperatives, mainstreaming cooperatives in the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, as you mentioned, developing a Kenya Co-op transformation strategy, as well as a strong cooperative university that is a fountain of knowledge generation and transmission in Africa. We will now turn to His Excellency, Mr. Ravindra, who is the Chargé d'Affaires to the Permanent Mission of India to the United Nations and the upcoming host of the November Global Conference. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Chair, for giving me the floor, and I'll be brief in the interest of time. Like all of you, I'm also keen to listen to the leaders from cooperative sector, including those who have come from India. I also acknowledge the presence of President of ECOSOC, and I also extend warm welcome to new PR of Mongolia to the UN. In India, as you know, the scale, size, and reach of cooperative sector is so vast and big that it is difficult to put in words. We have nearly 900,000 registered cooperatives with active membership of nearly 300 million. We have cooperatives in agriculture, horticulture, fisheries, dairy, housing, health, and the list goes on. And it has positively impacted people generation after generations. In fact, if I recall, during my childhood in my village, the favorite activity in the evening for children like of my age was to go to the milk cooperatives to contribute the day's milk to the cooperatives, which was in my village. And also, we used to go during holidays to the IFCO unit, local office, to fetch the fertilizer for our crops. So that is the kind of influence it had on my life and lives of millions of Indians. The cooperative sector in India has always played a significant role in overall economic development with a member-driven and all-inclusive approach with women at core. Like if you see, many of the milk cooperatives in India are like the predominant membership is women. So it has really helped to enhance the financial sort of empowerment of women in rural areas. We have cooperatives which are considered as best performing globally, like IFCO and Anand Milk Union. Then we have another cooperative called Lijjat, and then Mulukanuru Milk Union and Seva Group. The turnover itself runs into billions. Each of these cooperatives, the turnover is billions, and again, easily I can say millions of membership and affecting their lives positively. In this context, we are very happy to host the next global conference in New Delhi later this year, coinciding with the second International Year of Cooperatives, which is 2025. We hope the conference will help us to explore new areas of cooperation, exchange best practices, and also to learn from each other. I think there are so many things to learn from each other, particularly from the success stories. We could also perhaps look at organizing commemorative events in UN, focusing on contribution of cooperatives to SDGs and 2030 agenda. We look forward to working with all stakeholders on each of these areas. In closing, I join others in congratulating ICA, UN DESA for organizing today's soft launch and also extending invitation to us. I thank you.
Many thanks, Ambassador Ravindra, especially for sharing your personal connection to co-ops and having grown up in Turkey with housing co-ops and going to to get our school supplies and consumer co-ops. I can relate to that, and we look forward to being in New Delhi with you in November. Thank you. Our last speakers for the opening this session is, last but not least, not only an Argentinian cooperative leader, not only a Latin American cooperative leader, but a world leader, Mr. Ariel Guarco. In the first UN International Year, we went under the flag, the cooperative movement went forward under the flag of Dame Pauline Green, and now we will be following your lead, Ariel. Thank you, and the floor is yours.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much, Smel. I'd particularly like to welcome His Excellency Nyambi Kinyuni, Permanent Representative of Kenya, and Ambassador Nyamdorf, Permanent Representative of Mongolia, His Excellency Mr. Ravindra Shajidefa, Permanent Representative of India, and a particular welcome to our dear colleague, Her Excellency Madame Paula Narvaez Ojeda, Permanent Representative here in the United Nations and President of ECOSOC. And I would like to welcome UN DESA Shin Wilmore, and a particular welcome for all those that work in cooperatives around the world. It's an honor for me to be here with you today and to share with you a genuinely historical day. It's not the first time that I've been here as the President of the International Cooperative Alliance. We have participated in other meetings to commemorate the International Day of Cooperatives, but today I think this is something that's really going to transcend time and space. Cooperatives are so important. They have around about 12 centuries of existence in various parts of the world. I think we can go further than that and say that they have their roots in practices of ancestral solidarity when the first human beings on Earth understood that they needed to cooperate in order to survive. But human beings have also created other kinds of practices, and in recent times we've organized systems of accumulation of wealth based on selfishness, material reasons, and this throwaway culture, throwing away people and throwing away things. And so we live in a very advanced world in technological terms, but at the same time it is profoundly unequal, this world. It's also a world where geopolitical conflicts are threatening global security, stability, and armed violence is leading to death and suffering for millions of people on a daily basis. We live in a world where natural resources are being plundered, and the climate change crisis is threatening everyone, first and foremost human beings. So we need to look at all of these changes and try to build a sustainable future. In other words, a future where future generations will be able to live under better social, natural, cultural and political conditions than they're doing today, than we are doing today. It's a time to find again this gene of cooperation that's not only enabled us to survive in hostile contexts for millions of years, but it's enabled us to create prosperity and well-being. I don't need to tell you that it's cooperation between the communities of the world that has made it possible to overcome the dramatic effects of the world wars, of natural disasters, and the health crises such as the one that we had recently. And it's cooperation globally that also makes it possible to manage new technologies and put them to the service of individual and collective prosperity. Cooperation is key to ending conflicts and guarantee positive peace, a peace that will be more than the cessation of violence. It will be a peace that brings about social, economic, environmental and political balance in all regions of the world. The time has come to consolidate all of this. In each country and globally, we need to generate the conditions necessary to keep alive this ecosystem, these initiatives that will promote social justice and democracy. But above all, we need to fire up the engines of cooperation amongst governments, working together with public and private stakeholders to really stabilize our world and once again put the economy in the hands of people so that it addresses the real needs of people, the prosperity, wealth of families, that leads to real economic growth. And provide just and balanced opportunities by providing economic growth. And in an unequal world, we know that there are various historic responsibilities. We all want a sustainable world, but there are peoples that need to become industrialized or re-industrialized so that they can grow. Those that have done that already need to make their contribution and respect the sovereignty of every community to agree upon the development strategies that are most accessible to them for their development, particularly the most vulnerable. Cooperatives are, when it comes to this, autonomous tools for each community, each people, each nation. They're linked together globally, and they provide local answers to global challenges. And day by day, we are seeing how mutual assistance and solidarity can help us in various countries. I think the slogan for the International Year of Cooperatives, once again, is to build a better world. We're very proud of this, because it's the daily action of all these cooperatives and the huge numbers of members that is important. But we have a sense of responsibility. We know that the world is looking towards us, perhaps as they've never done before, to use cooperatives as the most direct vehicle towards sustainable development. Humbly, I think that we are up to this responsibility, and I think that we will move very successfully to 2025. Not just in terms of the International Year of Cooperatives, but all of you working together, representatives of the United Nations and various governments of the world. You are taking on this message as your own. You are the ones that can really breathe life into Resolution 78175 by producing adequate laws for cooperatives. And finally, I'd like to invite you all from the 26th to the 29th in December in New Delhi, when we'll have the international opening of the Year of Cooperatives. That will be another global conference that will bring together hundreds of leaders of cooperatives from throughout the world, and I hope also authorities from the United Nations and its various agencies. Thank you very much, dear friends, for inviting us to be part of this emotional day, and I hope that we will together to move towards building a world that is fairer, with greater solidarity, and above all, a world living in peace. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Ariel,
Thank you very much, Ariel.
for your kind invitation. Now I would love to give the floor to Mr. John Wilmore, the Director of UN DESA Division for Inclusive Development. You have the floor, John.
Thank you, Moderator. Your Excellency, Mr. Ankh Bayar Nyam George, Permanent Representative of Mongolia to the United Nations. Welcome to your new post. Your Excellency, Ms. Paula Navarez Ojeda, President of ECOSOC. Your Excellency, Ms. Njambi Kinyugu, Chargé d'Affaires, Permanent Mission of Kenya to the United Nations. Your Excellency, Mr. R. Ravindra, Chargé d'Affaires, Permanent Mission of India to the United Nations. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the United Nations for this soft launch of the International Year of Cooperatives 2025. Thanks to all of you for honoring our invitation, and judging by the robust turnout this morning, I think the International Year is off to a good start. I thank the permanent missions of Mongolia and Kenya for sponsoring the resolution that proclaimed the International Year, and please allow me also to thank the Permanent Mission of India for offering to host the global launch of the International Year in November. For the United Nations, these days, our most urgent task is supporting countries in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Given that the world is currently not on track to meet all of the goals, strengthening the means of implementation and revitalizing the global partnership for development is more urgent than ever before. Cooperatives are an important component of this work. Let me mention 3 examples of social groups currently being left behind for whom cooperatives can be invaluable. First, persons with disabilities are disproportionately likely to live in poverty, and too often they lack access to education, healthcare, employment opportunities, housing, social protection systems, justice, cultural expression, and participation in political life. Physical environments, transportation systems, and information and communication systems are often not accessible. In this context, DESA's Division for Inclusive Social Development has developed a toolkit on disability for Africa, providing practical tools on various disability-related issues to government officials, members of parliament, civil and public servants at all levels, disabled persons organizations, and all those with an interest in the inclusion of persons with disabilities in society and in development processes. This online tool can be adapted for use in other regions of the world. Second, the COVID-19 pandemic was particularly disruptive to young people, with many now at risk of being left behind during a crucial stage of the life course. Even before the pandemic, young people were more likely to be unemployed or in precarious jobs or to lack access to adequate social protection. By 2022, there were still 6 million more unemployed young people than before the pandemic. It is therefore very important that we support cooperatives run by youth or that support young people to acquire new skills and decent work. DESA, in collaboration with cooperatives, is currently developing a project for selected African countries to support adaptation to and mitigation of the impacts of climate change in the agricultural sector. DESA will be encouraging young people to be part of the project, thereby learning new skills for the changing world of work. And third, let me address matters relating to indigenous peoples. The United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues is an advisory body on issues related to economic and social development, culture, the environment, education, health, and human rights. The adoption of the 2030 Agenda offered more opportunities to promote the rights of indigenous peoples to lands, territories, and resources, demonstrating how indigenous stewardship of lands, territories, and resources can achieve accelerated action towards achievement of several of the SDGs. In general, the values and principles of cooperatives, including equality, solidarity, and social responsibility, provide a solid foundation for empowering your members to improve their lives. You prioritize democratic control of cooperatives by its members and are committed to providing education and training. This is your opportunity to demonstrate the veracity and the relevance of the slogan of this year's International Year, which proudly asserts that cooperatives build a better world. Ladies and gentlemen, the International Year of Cooperatives 2025 offers us an opportunity to mobilize the collective strength and creativity of cooperatives for sustainable development. In this work, let us ensure that we give priority to reaching those who are the furthest behind first. We in DESA look forward to working with you to create a successful international year that will have a lasting impact. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John, for hosting us and for reminding us how valuable cooperatives can be for the indigenous, people with disabilities, and youth. Now we would love to invite our keynote speaker, Her Excellency Ms. Paula Narvaez Ojeda, the President of ECOSOC. May I invite you to come here? I think I'm good here. You're sure? Okay. All right. Please, thank you. Go ahead.
But I will speak in Spanish, so I ask you if you can use the device. All protocol observe. Excellencia.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor for me to deliver the keynote address during the pre-launch of the International Year of Cooperatives 2025 here at the United Nations. I also look forward to the global launch of the International Year, which will take place in New Delhi next November. I am pleased to see so many cooperative leaders here today. Graciela, for example, I particularly like to welcome you because you come from our region, from Latin America and the Caribbean, and of course, Dr. Ariel Guaco, who invited me to be here. Your active participation and the participation of all cooperatives is key to make a success of the International Year under the theme, Cooperatives Build a Better Future for All People. You and the cooperative movement that you lead are the agents that defend and materialize this issue in your daily work. I greet you and I welcome you to the United Nations. Our turbulent world is, as was said, is facing multiple crises and needs successful cooperatives to help countries to overcome them. Last week, the United Nations published the 2024 edition of the Secretary-General's report on progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals. 6 years from 2030, the world is on track to meet only 17% of the SDGs. In more than a third of them, meanwhile, there has been no progress, and in some cases the situation has even gotten worse. The climate emergency is particularly alarming. This is related to SDG 13, which is being reviewed in depth this year by the high-level political forum, and that is happening during these 2 weeks in New York. Last week, Hurricane Beryl caused severe damage in the Caribbean and parts of Mexico. At Category 5, Beryl was the most powerful hurricane to hit early this year. A grim reminder that warming seas are causing stronger storms, and that the hurricane season is lengthening. At the same time, in California, wildfires have forced tens of thousands of people to evacuate. So far this year, California has experienced nearly 3,000 wildfires that have burned 134,000 acres. The lingering effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, increasing inequalities, escalating conflicts and geopolitical tensions are just some of the problems facing the world today. But against this backdrop, there are glimmers of hope. There has been some progress with regard to reduction in child mortality, HIV infections, and improvements in access to water, sanitation, energy, and mobile broadband. At the SDG Summit in September last year, world leaders committed in a powerful ministerial statement to take action to rescue the SDGs and support the SDG stimulus proposal. However, that action must begin now, right now. We have no time to waste because very little time is left. Ladies and gentlemen, the values and principles of cooperatives make them directly relevant to sustainable development. Many cooperatives have integrated the SDGs into their work programs. Participatory decision-making, democratic control by members, equality, solidarity, cooperation, and concern for the community are fundamental principles that underpin cooperatives and allow them to contribute to improving the world. These fundamental principles must be promoted more widely so that they become the norm and not the exception. They are the principles that can help the world navigate the multiple crises that we currently face. To accelerate progress in the implementation of the 2030 Agenda, there are several important global processes taking place soon at the United Nations. In September of this year, world leaders will attend the Summit of the Future. A guiding principle of the summit is to promote the implementation of the 2030 Agenda and to take advantage of today's opportunities and leave a better future for future generations. The summit will be a good opportunity to remind world leaders that cooperatives can and are building a better world. The second World Summit on Social Development will take place next year, offering a critical opportunity to encourage investments in social development and build resilience to safeguard the progress already made and accelerate actions to advance the SDGs. Cooperatives must be part of this process, showing how they can contribute to fulfilling the promise that no one is left behind. Here at the United Nations, we all recognize that cooperatives, in their various forms, promote the fullest possible participation in the economic and social development of local communities and of all people, including women, youth, elder persons, people with disabilities, and indigenous peoples, whose inclusion strengthens economic and social development and contributes to the eradication of poverty and hunger. I encourage you to actively participate in the Summit of the Future and the Second World Summit on Social Development. There you can share good practices and contributions to demonstrate practical solutions to our challenges. We need cooperatives to show an alternative business model that promotes shared prosperity, community, as well as social, economic, and environmental sustainability. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the Economic and Social Council also has several related processes that can benefit from your participation. The Commission for Social Development is the main forum for monitoring the results of the First World Social Summit. The Commission's Board of Directors will be held in February of next year and has proposed that its multilateral forum focus on cooperatives. I note that the International Cooperative Alliance has consultative status with ECOSOC and is therefore welcome to participate in the high-level consultations of the Council. I am pleased to see that the ICA is well represented here today, including its president that we already heard from. Now, with the International Year of Cooperatives in 2025, we have the opportunity to further consolidate the role of cooperatives in sustainable development. I encourage you to bring your experiences to ECOSOC, where you can also share lessons and opportunities to strengthen cooperatives. The International Year of Cooperatives will demonstrate the role of cooperatives in building a better world and aims to promote their promotion and empowerment to meet the challenges of today and of the future. I thank you for your continued efforts to ensure that cooperatives build a better world for all of us. As we approach the 2030 target to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, it is increasingly important that all stakeholders join forces to accelerate progress towards achieving these goals. Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias, Her Excellency, reminding us of the challenges that we are facing as this event is happening on the sidelines of the high-level political forum, and also the benchmarks for the next year where cooperative movement should take part. Thank you for making the time for us today. We have now one video message from the Director General of the International Labour Organization, Gilbert Hongbo. That is, I think, a 3-4 minute video that was recorded on the occasion of the International Day of Cooperatives. If our colleagues could kindly play that. Thank you.
I am delighted to be with you on this International Day of Cooperatives. This year's theme is Cooperative Build a Better Future for All. And what better theme to remind us of the essential role of cooperatives in sustainable development and social justice worldwide. This year also marks the 80th anniversary of the ILO's Philadelphia Declaration, whose vision reflects the core values of the ILO's mandate. The declaration affirms the right of all human beings to pursue material well-being and spiritual development in freedom, dignity, economic security, and equal opportunity. Cooperatives embody every single one of these enduring principles. The International Cooperative Alliance has been a vital partner for the ILO since our inception. Over the years, we have strengthened our cooperation in advancing decent work and social justice. Our partnership is even more crucial now as we approach 2025, when we will mark the second United Nations International Year of Cooperatives and the second World Summit for Social Development. Cooperatives are pivotal to address discrimination and inequalities and to the promoting gender equality. Their impact is significant and wide-reaching. To highlight this, the ILO is developing methods to better measure the contribution of cooperatives to our economies and our societies. As our world continues to face complex challenges, cooperatives are key to providing people-centered solutions. The ILO's continued collaboration in the Committee for the Promotion and Advancement of Cooperatives, along with other UN agencies and the international cooperative movement, exemplifies this. Cooperatives also offers timely solutions. By prioritizing peoples and the planet, cooperatives can promote a just environmental transition and a fair digital transformation. I would like to take this opportunity to encourage cooperatives to engage with the Global Accelerator on Jobs and Social Protection for Just Transitions. Your presence and contribution are very welcome, starting with the Pathfinder countries. Today, we have an opportunity to reinforce cooperation between cooperatives and with social economy entities, government, employers, and workers' organizations, and international organizations. The recently launched Global Coalition for Social Justice does just that. It unites diverse partners around a common goal and helps translate their commitment into concrete actions to advance social justice. I am glad that the cooperative movement has joined us in the coalition. Your involvement is crucial. It's crucial to achieving our shared goals. We have the power to join forces to build a more just, peaceful, and sustainable future for all. Thank you.
What a wonderful start to this event. We are now closing this opening session to make a way for the next set of panelists. I'd love to thank the esteemed panelists for being a part of the session. It was my honor to be with you today. Let's continue, keep up the good work leading to the International Year of Cooperatives. Thank you.
So I have the pleasure of introducing the next panel. His Excellency, Mr. Nyam George, Permanent Representative of Mongolia to the UN, Her Excellency, Ms. Kingu, of the Permanent Mission of Kenya to the UN, and His Excellency, Mr. Ravindra, of the Permanent Mission of India to the UN. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, and guests, all protocols observed. I work with the International Trade Center and have the pleasure to introduce a panel of colleagues from across the UN system, and from whom we'll hear how we are supporting the International Year of Cooperatives. As background, ITC is the Joint Development Assistance Agency of the United Nations and the World Trade Organization. We support micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises in being more competitive and having access to trade internationally. And these are often communities, vulnerable communities that we've heard of today, from women, youth, indigenous peoples, migrants, refugees. In short, by transforming trade, we aim to change lives. At ITC, we recognize the important role of cooperatives in delivering for sustainable development. Cooperatives contribute to sustainable economic growth and stable quality employment, providing jobs or work opportunities to 10% of the world's employed population. Deeply embedded in communities, cooperatives provide services for those whose needs are not met, for example, financial and educational services, and create social cohesion by retaining value in producer communities and acting as a counterweight to the forces of conflict. Through our direct support to cooperatives such as women artisans in the Nyota Farsamo cooperative in the Dadaab refugee camp in Kenya, to supporting farmer associations and producer organizations in agricultural value chains such as the cocoa sector in Ghana or the coffee sector in Ethiopia, ITC places great importance on supporting cooperatives for sustainable development. So we are very pleased to work hand in hand with all partners present here today to support the International Year of Cooperatives. And without further delay, I'd like to introduce our first speaker of this panel, Mr. Andrew Alamadi from UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs, to share with us a little bit more about the UN resolution. Mr. Alamadi, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Mine will be brief. I have a couple of things to say about the resolution itself that declared the year 2025 as the International Year of Cooperatives. The first thing to say is I'm sure everybody knows that we are in a turbulent world, geopolitical tensions, and if you do enjoy watching United Nations television, you can see the discussions taking place in these in the various chambers of the United Nations where member states are negotiating heavy global issues. And during these negotiations, you can see and feel the tension. But whenever they leave these other big negotiations and come to a discussion on cooperatives, all you see is unity, conviviality, cooperation. They leave one room with consternation and enter the next with hugs and collaboration. And as just one example, the first two countries to co-sponsor the resolution proclaiming 2025 the International Year of Cooperatives were Russia and the United States. And then the list goes on to 120 countries co-sponsoring the resolution. So it shows you how special cooperatives are, and it shows you what a momentous occasion we have to bring and use cooperatives as a vehicle for global transformation. So let's not give in to cynicism, let's not give in to consternation, conflict, and all the other C's you can think about. We have cooperatives, and this is really something to treasure. Secondly, the resolution talks about ideas of how to celebrate the International Year. Principle amongst them is that the International Year will be successful at the national level. If we change things in country, if we can bring action in country, if we can support cooperatives in countries to actually make meaningful change, that's how the International Year will be judged. So in that respect, the resolution calls for national committees or national organizations that should be responsible for driving the success of the International Year. And leaders of cooperatives such as yourselves will have to engage with your national governments to see how best to support cooperatives at the national level. And I guess also we need to think of the principle of cooperative to cooperative international collaboration so that the stronger cooperatives amongst you will be able to support the weaker or the startups or the others that need more help to participate in the International Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alamadi, for giving us that context and how cooperatives can really unify many countries that are normally sometimes quite opposed. Now I would like to introduce Mr. Lamrabat of DESA again to describe some of the communication activities for the year.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, and to all of our partners joining this important day. Cooperatives, as my colleague also Andrew mentioned, play a crucial role in addressing issues such as poverty, hunger, gender equality, and decent work. And they are leading the way in social, economic, and environmental progress. As we celebrate also the important role of the cooperatives movement in creating a better world, it's crucial to create a unified visual identity that represents our common values and goals. So DESA is currently in the process of designing the logo of the year in collaboration with all of our partners, which will be shared with our cooperatives partner under the team Cooperatives Build a Better World. Based on the logo, DESA and COPAC will also collaborate on developing communication and outreach strategy that will include social media messages, digital cards, including the SDG branding, short videos, quotes, photos, and featured stories from our COPAC and key partners. Our communication key messages, for example, will focus on how cooperatives ensure that every member's voice is heard and valued, creating a more equitable and inclusive economic model. Some of also another key message as like cooperatives foster a sense of collective responsibility and shared prosperity. Another key message that we will also highlight, these are just examples, cooperatives balance the pursuit of profit with the needs and interests of members and their communities. The objective of our campaign is to increase public awareness about cooperatives and their role in socio-economic development and achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. It also aims to highlight the cooperatives movement commitment to building a more inclusive, equitable, and sustainable future for all. Our target audience will consist of governments, UN agencies, cooperatives, institutions, development agencies, and the general public. The IYC 2025 logo will serve as a strong tool to communicate the values and mission of cooperative movement, and the colors and the shapes and the typography of the logo will convey the key values of the inclusivity and equality. The official IYC 2025 logo will be featured on our UN websites, our key partners also website, all the cooperatives also, social media platforms, outreach materials, and this will be creating a global identity for the cooperative movement. Any non-UN organization that wants to use the IYC 2025 logo must submit a signed liability waiver form to our IYC Secretariat for approval. Once the approval is granted and the signed waiver is submitted, the organization will receive a link to download the official logo, which will be available in all 6 official languages of the United Nations. So just to conclude, the IYC 2025 is not just a year of celebration, but it's also a call of action. We will all work together to spread the message that cooperatives are more than just a business, but they represent a blueprint for a better world, guided by the principles of democracy, equality, equity, and solidarity. We will be using hashtags during the whole year, Co-ops Year, IYC 2025, and everyone included to promote our campaign. So we invite you to join us and participate. And for any more information, please visit our COPAC website. And thank you so much for all your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lamrad, for sharing some of the details on the communications campaign for the International Year. I'm sure we're all looking forward to engaging with those assets. Now I have the pleasure to introduce a few leaders from the cooperative community itself. Mr. Joseph Jaguna, Director of Policy at International Cooperative Alliance. I invite you to share a little bit more about ways that we can deepen the thematic areas of the International Year of Cooperatives. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, moderator. And distinguished guests, cooperative leaders, good morning. I think we are still in the morning. I will make a short presentation about the International Year of Cooperatives theme, just to emphasize what this theme means and how it is important also for cooperatives. So the theme, Cooperatives Build a Better World, which was inspired by the first International Year of Cooperative, is not just a theme. It is the mission statement. It underscores the core mission of cooperatives, creating a better world. And it recognizes the vital role that cooperatives play in fostering sustainable development, social inclusion, and economic resilience. These multifaceted contributions lead to a more equitable, inclusive, and sustainable global community. With this theme, as the International Cooperative Alliance, we aim to promote and emphasize the unique strengths, identity, principles, and values of the cooperative business model. Our goal is to inspire greater recognition the support for cooperatives, and engagement, cooperation among cooperatives around the world, showcasing their significant contribution to sustainable development, which will in turn ultimately contribute to the achievement of the United Nations 2030 for Sustainable Development Agenda. The main objectives, as you can see them there, is to raise the public awareness and the visibility of cooperatives, highlighting their contribution to sustainable development. We will also promote the growth and development of cooperatives to strengthen their entrepreneurial ecosystem, advocate for an enabling environment and supportive legal and policy frameworks. And also, as this International Day of Cooperatives theme was Cooperatives Build a Better Future for All, we also want to ensure that we inspire the future generations, and that is why our main objective, the fourth objective, is to promote purposeful leadership and inspire the youth to join the movement. Going forward, we'll be creating a steering committee for the International Year of Cooperatives that will provide overall leadership and strategic direction. And its key responsibilities will be development and implementation of action plan, just to oversee that we have a comprehensive International Year of Cooperatives action plan. The steering committee will also guide on how we can promote the International Year of Cooperatives at global, regional, national levels, and also engaging with the governments, with the UN agencies, with international organizations, and also with other stakeholders. We will also develop a strategy to secure funding for IYC activities, and it is not only monetary, but also in-kind contribution from cooperatives, governments, UN agencies, and even individual donors. As Andrew has mentioned when he was explaining about the resolution that was adopted on 19th of June that proclaimed also 2025 as the International Year of Cooperatives, but it was its main mandate was to give the modalities for the launch of IOIC. It categorically says that it invites all member states to consider taking actions toward establishing national mechanisms where appropriate, such as national committees, to prepare for, observe, and follow up on the International Year of Cooperatives, in particular for those of planning, stimulating, and harmonizing the activities of the governmental and non-governmental agencies and organizations concerned with the preparations for an observation of the International Year. I've just read that article so that you understand why we are saying that we'll be creating national committees. So the purpose is to ensure that the messages for the International Year of Cooperatives at the international level, they are conveyed to the stakeholders at the national and local levels and vice versa. The composition of the national committees will include government representatives, will include cooperatives, UN agencies, and other relevant stakeholders. And the responsibility, as you can see on that slide, it will be to coordinate activities for preparing, conducting, and following up on the IOIC at the national level. We'll be giving more information about this, so I will not go into detail, and you can find more information also on our website. Regarding the timeline of activities, what we are foreseeing, so today was the soft launch event, and so let's say the ball has now started rolling. And between now and December, we'll be also now conducting or ensuring that the formation of national regional committees to implement IOIC objectives started. We're also trying to see during the UN Summit of the Future, if together with COPAC and the UN agencies that we are working with, to ensure that cooperatives are also featured there. The official launch, our Director General will be speaking about it, will be in November in New Delhi. And now from December 2024 onwards after the launch, we will see now national, regional, international activities. And then next year, we also try to follow the main UN and international events to ensure that we position cooperatives, including the UN World Social Summit. And in December, we will be able to communicate about the closing event. So this information will be provided on the IOIC website and also in the ICA website, so you can find that information. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Juguna, for sharing more about the theme and the roadmap of events of IYC. Next, I would like to turn the floor to Mr. Jerome Douglas, Director General of International Cooperative Alliance, to share more about the global conference in India and the launch event. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
And thank you, Michelle, for introducing. Excellencies, esteemed colleagues, and dear guests, but above all, fellow advocates for a more equitable world. So we heard previous speakers, and everything they have been saying is still resonating with us, which is good. So the cooperative movement, as a global movement, exists through the International Cooperative Alliance already 130 years. It has lifted people to a more equitable and resilient world. It's quite amazing to see, but we need it. We need it still to fight for that, because we are aware of the fact that still 85% of all people in the world live below $25,000 a year. So raw capitalism is exclusive. It excludes people. And somehow we all are facing the challenge to build a new economy, a better world through an economy that works for all. And then the beautiful gift of the United Nations has arrived. And the declaration, as you have just explained in detail, where it's all about, is giving us the golden opportunity, I would say, again, not only to the cooperators here, not only to the cooperators that are following us through the live stream, but to the world at large, I would think. Because we can use this international year to amplify our message for building a better world. And the work doesn't stop here, nor does end here. So it's my role now to invite you all, once we finish this soft launch, to the official launch. It's already been mentioned, and we are very grateful also to you, President of the Indian Farmers Fertilizers Cooperative Organization, very large co-op. You will speak, Mr. Dilip Sangani, as President, for co-hosting this beautiful event for the first time in the history in India. And the official launch of the International Year of Cooperatives will take place together with, indeed, our own global conference from 25 to 29th of November. And it is themed Cooperatives Build Prosperity for All. So prosperity for all is the theme. So imagine a venue, vibrant space, the most beautiful venue of India for a meeting, with, we hope, at least 1,000, maybe 1,500 people participating from 50 different countries, with key speakers both from inside as well as outside of the movement, with breakouts, with plenaries, with cooperative movies, with marketplaces, with coopathons. It's fully filled with a lot of activities, and even at the end also a visit to the Taj Mahal. And all are we there to explore how to reach prosperity for all. Prosperity for all is about bridging the income gap between poor and rich, and through ownership in your own cooperative enterprise. This is the key to bridge that income gap. It's all about also creating decent work, fair wages, safe working conditions, and also the opportunity to develop yourself as a worker in your company. It's about the empowerment of women, of youth, through tools and good resources. And it's also about organizing green finance for sustainable practices to develop an environment and community that is healthy for the next generations. So, in other words, the global conference that the ICA is organizing is not just a global conference. It's a clarion call. It's the kickoff moment also, I would say, for a call to action. Because as already memorized, the Sustainable Development Goals, as a human community, we're not able to deliver on it all. but we will want to do our main efforts to set up a sprint together with the United Nations and all those who fight for those sustainable development goals. And this global conference is the kickoff moment for that sprint, following also the Secretary General's word, this is the decade of action. So the global conference will have 4 pillars to work on. And those 4 pillars are, 1, about advocating an enabling environment to ensure that cooperatives and also mutuals have healthy businesses to live on. The second pillar is about ensuring that the statement of our cooperative identity is well protected through legal support, is well lived through leadership training, and is also well communicated through our own label and our own mark that we can further advocate. The third pillar is about the promotion of purposeful leadership for women, for youth, for minorities, and also for high potentials, because we need new leaders in the movement. And fourthly, it is also about the future economy of cooperatives through artificial intelligence, creating democratic digital platforms, ensuring that the data are strengthening individual identities of co-ops, are working for access to finance, are working for creating exchange platforms for carbons. So whether you're a seasoned cooperator, whether you're passionate about it, please feel invited to come to Delhi, help to amplify your cooperative message. We are united through our diversity in the movement, and the Cooperative Global Conference is there also to create a sense of togetherness, of a sense to belong, to meet friends, to meet colleagues, to mark your own personal history as well. So please join us for the journey that we are going to make together, and ensure that through your presence we are building this, this forward-looking agenda. Because together we can unlock a future of possibilities where cooperation reigns supreme and prosperity will be a shared reality for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Douglas, for those inspiring remarks and the invitation to come together in Delhi for the launch of the International Year in November. Now I have the pleasure and honor to introduce Mr. Dilip Sanghani, President of Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative and former parliamentarian, who will share a little bit more about the launch in India this year. The floor is yours. Thank you.
In the August House, Mr. El Gorko and other dear dignitaries and friends from the UN, ICA, IALO, and other organizations. Namaskar. From the world's largest democracy, India, home to more than 806,000 cooperatives, I proudly represent IFCO, which is the world #1 ranked cooperative by World Cooperative Monitors. Continuously for the 4th time in agriculture sector on the basis of GDP, capital, and agriculture sector on the basis of GDP, capital, and the Apex Cooperative of India, Union of the Cooperative of the Indian, which is represented around 2.4 million individual members, aim to promote and develop the cooperative movement. In the India, educate, guide, assist the people in their efforts to build up and around the cooperative sector. IFCO was established in 1996-7 with an aim to support farmers by providing good quality fertilizer to ensure to food security sustainable agriculture. Present, we are connect with 50 million farmers through more than 35,600 members cooperative. IFCO has recently invented and launched nanotechnology, liquid-based fertilizer. Product is eco-friendly and cost-effective. In India, cooperatives are rapidly progressing in all sectors. Credit cooperatives to agriculture, fisheries, dairy, sugar, labor, handloom, consumer, housing, etc. The government of India has established a separate Ministry of Cooperation in 2021 to enhance cooperative movement in India. I must to connect village with cooperative with mantra by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, Sahkar se Samruddhi, which means prosperity through cooperation. I would like to convey my sincere thanks to United Nations for declaring 2025 as the International Year of Cooperative. This is a good opportunity for the cooperative movement worldwide to intensify cooperative identity, discipline into reach so it reaches into the grassroots level to achieve sustainable development goals. Our plan for celebrating International Year of Cooperative, organizing seminars and webinars for increasing awareness about cooperative models, connected youth from colleges and universities, enhance women participation in cooperatives, use of technology and innovation of agriculture cooperatives, exploring new sector for cooperative like health care, skill development, rural livelihood, etc. Utilizing the services of social media platform, national television and radio to popularize the benefit of the cooperative success story of cooperative model. It will be achieved with the support from the Ministry of Cooperation, Government of India, and it involving all federation and national level cooperative in the country. I, on behalf of IFCO, NCI, CRIPCO, and Indian cooperative movements, invite to all New Delhi on the 25th November 2024 for witnessing the official launch of the International Year of the Cooperative 2025 and to participate in the Global Cooperative Conference. Do join. I again invite to all cooperative leaders to join in Delhi in 2025 is International Cooperatives. Thank you all.
Thank you, Honorable Mr. Sangani, for sharing how from the world's largest democracy of India, how this very democratic business model of cooperatives has really delivered for people. Well, thank you. With that, this concludes the panel of how the International Year that next year will, some of the key milestones and how we'll be working together to launch the International Year. I now will turn it over to my colleagues at DESA to moderate the next panel about regional and national plans to commemorate the year. Oh, is there a video? Sorry. I'm sorry. We're playing a video, actually. Yep.
Welcome to India. A land of breathtaking natural beauty, where towering mountain Himalaya touch the heavens and endless deserts whisper tales of time. India's beauty transitions like the notes of a melody. Its diverse, rich cuisine reflects country's vast geography and cultural history. Beyond its natural beauty and culinary delights, India is land of festivals and tradition, where spirituality is part of everyday life, from ancient rituals to cultural festivals that connects timeless stories. India is home to a quarter of the world's cooperatives. The ICA Global Conference will hit Indian soil for the first time in its 130 years of history. Join us from 25th to 30th November in New Delhi. Experience worldwide inspirational speakers, provocative panel debates, and the co-creation of visions and strategies. Be there to witness the official launch of the United Nations International Year of Cooperatives and the General Assembly of International Cooperative Alliance. Be a part of the first Global Co-op-a-thon. Experience an international exhibition with capacity for 50 booths. Forge lasting connections in an atmosphere of collaboration and innovation. All this in the magnificent Bharat Mandapam.
La Conferencia Global de la ASI es una plataforma única para abordar juntos los grandes desafíos globales. Únete a los cooperativistas de todo el mundo para dar forma a un futuro colectivo, pacífico y próspero para todos. Vamos a trabajar juntos para fortalecer el movimiento cooperativo, aumentar el beneficio mutuo y construir un mundo mejor.
Hello and namaskar, my dear cooperative friends. We welcome you coming from different parts of the world. We want to share that the theme of this ICA Global Conference is Cooperatives Build Prosperity for All. Our long-term aim is to build a cooperative movement worldwide that is prosperous and secure. We are honored to host all of you from different parts of the world in our home, that is India, for an engaging exchange of innovative ideas on cooperation, cooperative development, mutual growth, and encouraging social integration. I, on behalf of the Indian Cooperative Movement, welcome all of you and assure you the best Indian hospitality. Thank you very much and welcome again.
Don't miss out the opportunity to witness something extraordinary. Register now and be a part of ICA General Assembly at New Delhi, India.
And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to continue now this event following the video with a panel discussion. Up until now, and my name is Matthew Koniak, I am with DESA with the Division of Inclusive Social Development. So up until now this morning, we have heard distinguished speakers speak about the UN resolution, the launch of the International Year for Cooperatives in 2025, the upcoming important conference in India, as well as a number of issues that we are living in commonly in the world, issues relating to the difficulty for indigenous persons, peoples, persons with disabilities, youth, women, to participate fully, to find decent employment. We have heard about the need for solidarity, for decent jobs, the difficulties related to climate change, the conflicts, and of course, overall, and because we are here in the House of the UN, the difficulty to go through the implementation of the SDGs, and it was mentioned that only 17% are on track to be fully implemented. And so it is the belief, I think, of all of us in this room today that cooperatives have a significant role to play not only in the international year, but also in the implementation of the SDGs. And to speak about this, what we will do now is transition a little bit the focus of our discussion from where we are, what we have done, what has been decided, to where we are going, what will be done, what will be decided in the year to come in 2025. For that, we have a great panel of experts who represent cooperative movements, associations from many regions of the world, and it's my great honor to introduce you to them. And to start, let's go with Latin America, and I will switch to Spanish for just a second before coming back to English, just to give you enough time to use a translation device if it is needed. Pero a mi lado.
On my right-hand side, I have the honor to have Dr. Graciela Fernandez. You are president of the Cooperatives de las Americas, the Cooperatives of the Americas. As you know, the United Nations and in its resolution has decided to establish committees for the implementation of this year of cooperatives in 2025. My question to you is a very direct one. How is your organization going to work with these committees at regional level, with entities and governments in the Americas region? And the real question is, what are your plans? What is Latin America going to do next year? Well, at the outset, allow me, Chair, to welcome the International Alliance and all the excellencies that are here today at the United Nations. But above all, Chair, virtually the majority of the International Alliance cooperative countries are here. They are involved in the sectoral committees. Welcome, of course, Jerome and our regional cooperative organization, Danny. I'd like to state that all regions of the world, I'm happy to say, are represented here. But we also have the two vice chairs from the Americas, representative of Brazil, Mr. De Sousa, representing the Council of the Americas as well. Carla, thank you very much for being with us. So, cooperative people from throughout the world, I know you're listening to us right now. You represent 93 cooperative organizations of the Americas. Our organization covers cooperativism throughout the Americas, and we're very proud to be here. To be the voice that represents millions of those in cooperatives from Canada to Tierra del Fuego. And we would like to tell you how much we sense the responsibility that is ours on the eve of the International Year of Cooperatives. We will be doing this now for the second time and celebrating this in 2025. We feel a responsibility to represent the cooperatives of the Americas, the region that has suffered the most deaths and disease from COVID-19, the region which, with 19% of agricultural land on the planet, and also 23% of land service, 50% of biodiversity, and 31% of fresh water, continues to be the most unequal region of the world. The region, which in various parts of both hemispheres continues to have, and quoting a Uruguayan poet, has open veins and a lot of social injustice. We learned with the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, that no one can do this themselves, save themselves alone. In order to build a better future, we now, more than ever before, need multilateralism. And the efforts of all actors, so that the future will be more just, more inclusive, and more respectful of human rights and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. From Cooperatives of the Americas, and the Americas in their totality, not just Latin America, the Americas, all of the Americas, we have to understand this concept and implement the resolutions. We've already had contact with the 24 countries of the Americas and their governments, where we have been welcomed with great enthusiasm, particularly this year of the International Year of Cooperatives. But we've also spoken with institutions and the UN system representatives on our continent. We've already signed agreements with ECLAC and the FAO 2 weeks ago to celebrate the International Year of Cooperatives. This is a milestone in terms of social concepts, research, things that happened between 2012 and 2024. What needs to happen now for the United Nations to give fresh impetus to the international cooperatives? Well, by declaring 2025 the International Year of Cooperatives. We've spoken with UNESCO in 2016. They had a declaration in 2016, and they're working with us for 2025. America has committed to moving forward with cooperativism in our region. That is our commitment, so that our voice and our thinking can be heard. And of course, we will be focusing on the priority areas for our region that you asked me about, which is economic, social development, territorial development that we'll be doing with ECLAC, sustainable food systems with FAO Americas, work and care work with the ILO, education with UNESCO, financing with the World Bank for sectoral integration and to contribute to the +10 agenda. The building of a regional committee dedicated to the International Year of Cooperatives, together with our regional director, and the work prepared there. And the ambassador of Chile, president of ECOSOC today, took the commitment that she will preside over that council. That will be the administrative council for the cooperatives of the Americas. And in the Americas, we will be entering into a dialogue with all stakeholders in the social economy in order to multiply our efforts so that in the future no one is left behind. We want to be part of this change, and from the American continent we will be supporting the conference in November 2024 in India, and we are committed to 2025, the International Year of Cooperatives. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Fernandez.
Dr. Graciela Fernandez, for sharing your plans to work with the 24 countries, to work also with the multilateral system. You mentioned the World Bank, the ILO, UNESCO, and many others, and really for your call for social justice, very, very important in this endeavor. Now, let me turn to my left to Dr. Chandrapal Singh Yadav, who is the president of the ICA, International Cooperative Alliance for Asia and the Pacific, and also a former member of parliament. So, Dr. Yadav, the same question to you. We have heard from Latin America, which is, as we heard, the most unequal region in the world. Asia and the Pacific is also very unequal. It's very vast. There is great diversity. How is your association dealing and preparing for the year 2025 in relation with governments in the region. Floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Matthew, moderator. Dr. Ariel Guarco, ICA President, cooperative representative from different countries, distinguished guests, fellow cooperators. I am delighted to be part of this historic movement and extend my gratitude to the United Nations and to all the governments, especially the government of Mongolia, for their relentless efforts for declaration of year 2025 as the second International Year of Cooperatives, IYC. During the first IYC 2012, as the president of Indian Cooperative Movement, I had the opportunity to spearhead the celebration in India. Now, as the president of the ICA Asia and Pacific, I have larger plan to celebrate where cooperative can play a significant role in building an inclusive and sustainable society, thereby building a better world for all. The Asia Pacific region is a vibrant hub for cooperatives with over 500 million members spread across most of the countries and businesses sector. Cooperatives are recognized in the constitutions of some countries and acknowledged as a fundamental right and called upon to contribute in the social, economic, environmental, and cultural growth of their respective nation. Cooperative in several other countries with large, medium, and small economies such as Japan, China, South Korea, Australia, Singapore, India, Malaysia, Philippines, Nepal, Iran, and Sri Lanka, Vietnam, and Mongolia, etc., are committed to contribute in the socio-economic development of their countries, thereby building an inclusive society. The cooperatives are widely educating and training their members on informed use of farm input, promoting integrated farming, connecting to market, accelerating use of tech solution, and attracting youth by promoting school and university cooperatives. The cooperatives are also playing a crucial role in accelerating climate action through adopting renewable energy, recycling, ethical production, and ethical consumption, and also other green measures in their operations. Spirit and ethos of the theme of IYC 2025, Cooperative Build a Better World, find resonance in the activities and the centrality of the slogans prosperity through cooperation in India and empowering cooperatives, empowering people in Philippines. In the Asia Pacific, we plan to use this opportunity to increase visibility of cooperatives through showcasing impact on life of people, raise awareness and understanding about cooperatives, strengthening and expand network of cooperatives, encourage people's inclusive engagement with cooperatives to increase membership base, focus on youth engagement. So let us seize this movement to celebrate and amplify the cooperative spirit that builds us together and build a better world for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dr. Chandrapal Singh Yadav, for sharing with us the great work that ICA is doing in Asia and the Pacific, as well as the preparation for next year in such a vast region where you mentioned the 500 million members and many areas of work. So thank you so much again. So we were in Latin America, then Asia. Now let's come to America, and I'm looking at Mr. Douglas O'Brien. You are the president and CEO of NCBA, which is, I believe, the National Cooperative Business Association, CLUSA. I was reading that your organization has more than 100 years of work to build a better world and a more inclusive economy, here in the US, but also overseas. So I'm quite interested to hear about your plans as well for next year, as well as perhaps the level of partnership, cooperation that your organization is undertaking with other partners. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Join others in gratitude for this event today, for the Indian delegation and IFCO's hosting of the November conference, and for the UN in recognizing the importance and the impact that cooperatives have had and, more importantly, will have in the future. I do want to recognize we have a number of leaders from the U.S. cooperative community here today. The chair of the NCBA CLUSA board, Esteban Kelly, is joining us here, also the president of the U.S. Federation of Worker Cooperatives. Other board directors include Urban Crowell, Carla Decker, Debbie Wiggy, and LaDonna Sanders-Redmond right here, and my colleagues Val Roach, the executive vice president for NCBA CLUSA, and Liz Lettner, who's the communications director right back here. I mention all of these folks just to indicate the depth of commitment that we have in the United States for making the most of the International Year of Cooperatives. We are thinking about this year as a focal point to increase the awareness and the advocacy for cooperatives. We certainly join others, I think particularly President Ariel Guarco this morning in his very compelling message on the need for cooperative in today's context. In today's crises, meaning multiple crises that we face, cooperatives are an absolute necessary strategy. The way that we will do this in the United States is gather both quantitative and qualitative data. In quantitative data, we have already brought together the annual reports, the sustainability reports, the environmental sustainable ESG type of reports, and we are beginning to bring all of that together for a common narrative that supports the theme of how cooperatives build a better world for all. But not only quantitative, we know that co-ops are most compelling in their qualitative, what they do for families, for communities, for businesses around the world. We are gathering stories and partnering with .coop on their platform stories.coop to bring together the stories of how people use cooperatives to truly build a better world. And then in early 2025, we will have accumulated the data, we will have brought together the stories so that we can work with ICA Americas Regional to amplify what cooperatives mean, not only here in the United States, but across the world. And Mr. Moderator, you also asked about the partnerships that we plan to engage in. President Graciela Fernandez talked about the robust agenda that ICA Americas has. We are a very proud and active member of ICA Americas, and we look forward to working with ICA Americas with the partnerships and the MOUs that you've led and brought together already, Graciela. And of course, we will work with ICA Global in their work in November and beyond. We look forward to being a robust partner in bringing forward all the different tools and platforms that not only the ICA Global, but also the United Nations, as was described before. The final thing I'd like to mention, and I did mention briefly before, is the .coop platform. So .coop is of course the 20-year-old platform for the cooperative community that, in fact, NCBA-CLUSA helped establish, and now we co-own with the International Cooperative Alliance. They will reveal in November, you will hear much more about a directory and map that will lift up where cooperatives are across the globe so that we can better connect and we can better tell the story so that we can increase awareness and have more effective advocacy in 2025 and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. O'Brien, for, again, sharing your views and really, in your words, saying that cooperatives are an absolute necessary strategy. I think we all feel that needed and that importance when we hear that the SDGs are only 17% of them will be implemented, and therefore a key response there. Thanks also for the development of a common narrative, the need to bring awareness in this very essential year. Let's not miss the boat or miss the train, I don't know how we say, for that, and also for reminding us of that co-op platform. So now I would like to give the floor to Ms. Fabiola Mota. Welcome. You represent the organization of Brazilian Cooperatives. So we would also like to, very keen to hear from you about your plans, the plans in Brazil ahead of this important year, and perhaps what you would like to share in terms of where your key priorities will lie. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Does everyone hear me? Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Mathieu Cognac, for the question. Your Excellencies, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I do have to begin by saying it is a great honor to speak to you today here at the United Nations headquarters in New York. This is a historic and symbolic moment for cooperators from around the world as we struggle to get more recognition from governments and society. First, I want to thank the United Nations, the Department of Economic and Social Affairs, and the International Cooperative Alliance for organizing this important event. My name, as said, is Fabiola Nader Mota, and I have the honor of serving as the General Manager of the Organization of Brazilian Cooperatives, OCB. And I began working with cooperatives when I was just 19 years old. And since then, like many of you here, I have experienced the transformative power of cooperation. For the past 17 years, I have dedicated myself to working for cooperatives, advocating for a fairer and more prosperous world. This truly has been my cause and my passion. But today I'm here representing more than 20 million Brazilian families who believe in cooperation as a way of life. So it is a privilege to speak on behalf of our 4,600 cooperatives here in the heart of the international community. I am thrilled to share with you the importance of cooperatives for Brazil's development and as asked to share our plans for the upcoming second International Year of Cooperatives. Today, I want to first emphasize that cooperatives drive social development, collective prosperity, and environmental protection across Brazil. Our credit unions, for example, are the only financial institution in over 300 Brazilian municipalities. They reach communities where commercial banks have no interest, promoting financial inclusion and local development. Our cooperatives also support the green transition. In Brazil, we have 725 co-ops generating clean and renewable energy. Healthcare cooperatives provide essential health service across 92% of our country, and it's a big country. A recent study showed that the presence of a cooperative increases a city in Brazil, a city's GDP per capita by 18.5% when compared to municipalities without cooperatives. Cooperatives are vital allies of small rural producers also. In Brazil, large industrial complexes are owned by cooperatives formed by thousands of farmers. In fact, 70% of agricultural cooperative members are small farmers. Without their cooperatives, these producers would lack access to technology, resources, and access to international markets. Even though this is all true and all happening in Brazil, all over the world, most Brazilians aren't aware of it. So this is where OCB comes in. We work to develop Brazilian co-ops, but also to promote them. We have regional offices in every Brazilian state, allowing us to provide a wide range of services, such as advocacy, legal advice, research, data, business improvement support, education, and training. We advocate for cooperatives at the federal, state, and local levels. Our advocacy work includes supporting the government in implementing efficient public policies and also defending cooperatives' interests in our parliament. We believe cooperatives are the present and the future of business. They protect communities and the environment. They are focused on social issues and promote democratic and responsible governance. We believe in the power of social transformation through the development of our cooperatives. And through national and international partnerships, we have been supporting co-ops to become more competitive and resilient. But with all this in mind, I do have to say it is not easy. It is not easy at all. The role and the positive impact of co-ops are still largely unknown to the public. Today's youth often doesn't see our model as an opportunity for growth. We are frequently overlooked when new legislation is created. We are seen as a niche business model, and that is definitely not what we want. We want cooperatives strong and present everywhere, in every sector, in every home. That is why the UN's declaration of the International Year of Cooperatives in 2025 is so vital. It is essential to highlight that we can achieve what we can achieve as a social and economic model if we work together with our governments. In 2025, Brazil will host COP30, and we aim to collaborate with the UN and the ICA to bring cooperatives to the forefront of the sustainable business agenda at the climate conference. OCB will also take advantage of the International Year to advocate for advancements on the legal framework for the cooperative movement, such as approving a law that will allow cooperatives to operate in the insurance sector in Brazil, which today is forbidden. We will work to bring visibility to the relevance of cooperatives in our country through our national communication campaign called Somos COP, or We Are COP. We will publicize cooperatives in major national TV, radio, and internet channels. We wish to educate the public about our cooperatives and highlight the value of the products and service they provide. We believe that cooperatives are uniquely positioned to contribute to sustainable development and address global challenges. Therefore, OCB is committed to working with our international partners to ensure that co-ops play a central role in shaping a sustainable future. In closing, I would just like to restate our gratitude for the opportunity to participate in this significant event. OCB looks forward to 2025 with hope and excitement, knowing that together with the United Nations, we will advance the cooperative movement worldwide. We are going to achieve our shared goals. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Fabiola Mota, for sharing OCB in Brazil, explaining how the power of social transformation, as you put it, is so essential. Speaking about the great work, you mentioned credit unions, the green transformation, and in line with the upcoming COP, the agriculture, the small farmers, but also some of the challenges as well. And so we look forward to our cooperation, and thank you again for your great words. And so now I would like to turn to Ms. Rose Marley, who is the CEO of Co-ops UK. I was taking a look at your annual report in preparation to this event, and read, and you will tell us if the numbers are still accurate, that your organization has more than 900 cooperatives in direct membership and 3,500 cooperatives and mutuals that are represented to federal members. So these are very large members. My question is, how are you planning to work on the establishment of these national committees, and notably, because it's newsworthy, in collaboration with the newly established Labour government, I would imagine? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, on the 5th of July 2024, a new UK government was formed under our new Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, and I'm delighted to say it is a Labour and cooperative government. There are now 43 Labour and cooperative MPs in the House of Commons, which is the largest number of MPs in the 107-year history of the Cooperative Party. It's fair to say we are delighted. In addition, the Secretary of State for Business is Labour and cooperative. There is a co-op minister in the Foreign Office, and the Levelling Up and Communities and Housing Minister is also the chair of the Cooperative Party. Critically, though, the Labour manifesto outlines a commitment to doubling the size of the cooperative movement in the UK. Now, this is because, alongside the Cooperative Party and our friends in the mutual associations, we have produced an evidence base about how cooperatives do indeed build a better world. We have proved that cooperatives are more resilient, cooperatives are more productive, they are better for workers, they are better for customers, cooperatives are better for society, and as well produce better outcomes for the environment. There's no better way to commemorate the UN Year of Cooperatives than to work with this government to make inroads into the Sustainable Development Goals. We're especially excited to be working alongside the government in Development Goal 7 for the affordable and reliable energy access for all, with the announcement of Great British Energy, which will be powered by community and cooperative renewables. We believe that we'll make inroads in the promotion of inclusive growth and productive employment by working alongside and growing cooperatives. And a key deliverable of the government is inclusive growth, but also for our devolved Labour and cooperative mayors across our devolved city regions, this is key to their agenda as well. Workers' rights will now be the direct Deputy Prime Minister's responsibility, and there are exciting plans to improve transport accessibility and networks across the whole of the UK. So there is much to be hopeful for. We have already in the UK started working with the Law Commission to address cooperative legislation and policy to enable growth of the cooperatives. We are committed to the UN Year and to the ICA and COPAC. We will be using the year to raise the profile of cooperatives and actually, as Fabiola says, bring into our UK citizens an understanding about how and why cooperatives do indeed build a better world. It's not impressive to say that cooperatives are one of the UK's best kept secrets. We're going to progress our work with the UK Law Commission. We're going to create member services to encourage entrepreneurial, social entrepreneurial ecosystems. And we, alongside with our members, are going to support the government in the advancement of the SDGs. In addition to all of this, as a leader of Cooperatives UK, I am passionate about inspiring our younger generation to fill them with hope. Cooperatives offer solutions and many of the problems that they face around things like housing, climate, and indeed data ownership. There are solutions for cooperatives, and again, young people are really not aware of the opportunities that are provided. We've carried out some successful youth summits, and we are now building an advisory group of young people to steer, navigate and support this key initiative of Cooperatives UK. Precisely 180 years ago, the values and principles of cooperation were devised by the Rochdale pioneers in my home city region of Greater Manchester. With the support of the UN, the ICA and all of you here, we believe we can forge a new and better world. We can inspire the new pioneers, and we would like to inspire a fair and better world for the next 180 years from Greater Manchester, again in the year of the UN of the Cooperatives. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Marley. Very hopeful message and very impressive as well. And going from the best kept secret of the UK to something much more prominent. And you mentioned doubling in size and a lot of activities, not only for this year, 2025, but really for the next 100 years. So that is really excellent. You mentioned, of course, the importance of bring the youth and the clean energy with SDG 7, workers' rights, absolutely essential, and accessibility. So thanks so much for these messages, and best of luck with the collaboration also with your newly established government. And so now we are going to the last but not least speaker, Ms. Malika Kumar. Ms. Malika Kumar, you are Vice Chairperson of ICA, International Cooperative Alliance, Asia-Pacific Committee on Cooperatives in Educational Institutions. So we are very keen to hear from you about the work of ICA in Asia and the Pacific as it relates to education. And of course, because we hear here and there that it seems to be difficult to include young people within the ranks of cooperatives. We'll be very keen to hear from you about that. And also, it's a lot of questions at once, because we are here under the roof of the UN, and that's just that a couple of years ago we had the Transforming Education Summit, and I don't recall hearing that much about cooperatives during this summit, and yet it's very essential. So the floor is yours, and we're looking forward to hearing about your plans. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. I hope I'm audible. Good afternoon, friends. Namaste. I am Dr. Malika Kumar, an educator by profession, a learner by passion, and a dedicated practitioner of cooperation. It's an honor to be here today at United Nations headquarters for the 2025 International Year of Cooperatives soft launch. On behalf of my educational institution, Sri Ram College of Commerce, which is #1 college for commerce and economics education in India and Asia, and on behalf of International Cooperative Alliance Asia Pacific Committee for Cooperatives in Education, I extend my heartiest greetings to Dr. Ariel, ICA President, Mr. Douglas, distinguished guests, excellencies, delegates, one and all. Thanks to ICA and DESA for giving me an opportunity to learn from such a distinguished audience and share my insights on a topic which is very close to my heart and at the heart of development, as Matthew rightly mentioned, the youth, education, and cooperatives. I come from India, a country of rich diversity and cultural heritage, a young nation, and most importantly, home to largest number of cooperatives. My experience of more than 3 decades in the field of education and cooperation has revealed strong synergy between cooperatives and education. At the same time, there are some key gaps, as Ms. Marley rightly mentioned: awareness gap, knowledge, information, and technology gap. Cooperatives have existed cooperatives have played a very important role in diverse sectors of Indian as well as many other economies. They have existed, they have contributed, but they are not visible, particularly amongst the youth. The youth do not really know much about the potential of cooperatives and what cooperatives can do for them. The 2025 International Year of Cooperatives is a pivotal moment for the cooperatives, not just to celebrate, but also to introspect, reflect, and reset. We, the cooperators, do know about the contribution of cooperatives. We know about what are the gaps. And as it is rightly said, what we do is a function of why and how we do. So it is very important to understand the why and strategize on how to capitalize on our strength and bridge these gaps. IYC 2025 is an opportunity to inspire, educate, and empower our youth to join the cooperative movement. Education can empower youth, and cooperatives in education can inspire them to become agents of positive change in their communities and utilize their potential. An important challenge being faced by youth and the society in general is of loneliness, and cooperatives, being people-centric, based on values of self-help, each for all and all for each, can promote peace and prosperity. Promoting cooperatives in education requires a multifaceted approach involving collaboration between cooperators, educators, institutions, and communities. On behalf of International Cooperative Alliance Committee for Cooperatives in Education, we shall submit a proposal, a recommendation on how to connect youth with cooperatives, but considering the time constraint, I'll mention a few points on how to involve and inspire the youth. Involving youth by focusing on, most importantly, experiential learning. That is learning by doing, through internships, cooperative conversations, and cooperative tours. We plan to devise innovative ways for better knowledge about the youth through exclusive studies on them, their needs and aspirations. As Ms. Marley, you rightly mentioned, why are the youth not aware about their cooperative potential? We also need to know about the youth and their aspirations. So cooperative needs to share their knowledge with the youth, and we need to know about the youth as well. Sharing knowledge about cooperatives with youth to be dynamically adaptive by leveraging technology. I'm sure everybody will agree the youth of today is very tech savvy. So we have to utilize the technology to connect with them, utilize the digital platforms, social media, using latest technology to develop online modules for cooperative education. We can inspire the youth through awards and recognition for outstanding cooperative initiatives within educational institutions, sharing cooperative success stories with them, connecting them with the cooperative leaders. We shall be initiating deliberations for an international university on cooperatives. Let us initiate deliberations for that. And international knowledge sharing platform on the lines of UNDP Microfinance Solution Exchange Group, of which I was a member, and I shall share details about it. So we can have such common sharing platforms to connect with educational institutions, to connect with the youth. However, all these efforts, they require, policy support. All these efforts, particularly the integration of cooperatives in the curriculum. I do not know much about the other countries, but if I see my country, we really need to integrate cooperatives into the educational curricula so as to catch the youth young, right? So that requires policy support, that requires partnership with different stakeholders. So many initiatives have been taken by ICEI, by National Cooperative Union of India, the Ministry of Cooperation, Government of India. Together with ICA and United Nations, we shall take forward these initiatives with greater zeal for Gen Z. I hope you all know the Gen Z. I think we have one here. Yeah. So I would like to conclude with a call for action to encourage young people and academia to get involved in cooperatives, because cooperatives needs youth and youth needs the cooperatives. We look forward to collaborating with you all, with all the educational institutions across the globe, to make 2025 International Year of Cooperatives a milestone in the global cooperative movement. Let's work together to inspire and engage the young people in this transformative journey. And when I say young, when I say youth, it's not the number that matters. I say any mind which is open and willing to learn is a young mind. So we all are young that way. And action with passion will surely achieve the ICA and UN vision of a peaceful and prosperous world for all. Thank you once again. Jai Hind. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Malika Kumar, for your very inspiring words and very encouraging words, especially when you said that we are all young. And of course, for sharing the need not only for young people to better understand cooperatives, and for cooperatives, vice versa, to better understand young people, and how important it is, particularly in a region and a country like the one that you represent today, where you have such a large number of cooperatives and such a large number also of young people. The two cannot live separately necessarily. So thank you very much. We are coming to an end of this session, but before we close that session and proceed towards the closing, I understand that a number of other participants would like to take the floor, and it would be really wonderful to hear from some of you, maybe for just a few minutes, if anyone would like to share what their organization or their countries are preparing, are planning to do ahead of this International Year of Cooperatives. So if we just take a few minutes, it would be my pleasure to give you the floor, and I already see a hand up at the end of this table. Yes, please.
Okay, yes. Thank you. My name is Matthias Fiedler. I'm the president of Eurocoop, the European Association for Consumer Cooperative. It's a great honor and pleasure for us to celebrate the second International Year of Cooperatives. On behalf of consumer cooperatives in Europe, I thank you for this great opportunity to draw attention to the special role of cooperatives. Cooperatives build a better world. This is a wonderful motto which shows that we are special because we are not primarily concerned with maximizing profits, but with benefiting our members and achieving a balance that satisfies society as a whole. As we heard, our work is value-based. Modern cooperatives are based on Rochdale pioneers, as Rose said, but there are others. For example, Friedrich Wilhelm Raiffeisen, who inspired a lot of agricultural cooperatives all over the world, and many others. But the idea behind the cooperative, it's much stronger and older. Working together, cooperating, it is part of the human DNA. I come from Germany, from Bremen to be precise. This city is very famous for a fairy tale. You have maybe heard about it. And this also contains the idea of a cooperative, the Bremen Town Musicians. You remember maybe 4 old, poor animals who had no chance of a good life got together and combined their different skills to defeat the robbers. Their solidarity and their collective spirit helped them to fend off the much stronger opponents. And we, cooperatives, do the same. We join forces, we show solidarity, which is other, and we fight the modern enemies, poverty, hunger, climate change, and many other challenges. As Friedrich Wilhelm Raiffeisen said, what one cannot do, many can achieve. Together with our colleagues from Cooperatives Europe, we will organize meetings with the new elected EU Parliament to engage them to reach and to realize a co-op-friendly environment where cooperatives can grow and can fulfill this mission. Therefore, only together we can make the world a better place. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I think I see another hand here. Yes, if you'd like to introduce yourself and take the floor. Oh, sorry. Maybe we'll go here and then we will go over there. Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
My name is Uzi Wangan Sureng. I'm from the Mission of Mongolia. I just wanted to make a small observation or comment. So first of all, I would like to thank very much COPAC, DESA, and ICA for supporting us to organize such a wonderful event. So being a small delegation carrying out such a big initiative, we always needed the support of them, and we've been collaborating well for many years. Though our permanent representatives are in transition, I've been working on this cooperative issue for the last 3 years, and it's my second posting. I personally negotiated the resolution on cooperative for social development 3 to 4 times, so the issue is a bit close to me. And what I want to tell you is that at UN, any initiative, any resolution is usually a member state-led process. And we cooperate together with other member states and with support of the Secretariat. When it comes to implementation, of course, it's implemented by you, cooperators, wonderful representatives of regional and individual cooperatives. But what I observed is that last time, and by the way, I thank Andrew Alimati from DESA for presenting the resolution negotiated by us, and I'm happy that he mentioned about co-sponsorship of the US and Russia, etc. So when we negotiate the resolution here, we try to gain support of other delegations. It's usually done by us. For example, United States this year first time initiated the resolution, International Year of Women Farmers. And Mongolia also has initiated another resolution, International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists 2026. That's why these 2 initiatives were ongoing together. We agreed to work together to implement those 2 resolutions. That's why I informed them well about our cooperative resolution, and we were cooperative, and they almost for the first time came to co-sponsor the International Year resolution. And Russian colleague, the same, we cooperated on the outcome document of landlocked developing countries, etc. And we've been sending invitations on behalf of our permanent representative to co-sponsor, to work in the core group, to support us. We know that every country has cooperatives. They have strong organizations of cooperatives. That's why this especially this last resolution, for example, could have been supported by more countries than 64, right? But somehow, some delegations are very busy, some delegations are not paying attention. That's why I've got 64 supporters, and today I'm cross-checking my list of co-sponsorships, and the strongest countries have not co-sponsored my resolution. That's why I'm asking you to cooperate well, to inform well your governments and to keep in the loop your permanent missions here, so we can engage more co-sponsors, we can do more together. That is my observation, and I thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your clear message for a call for greater cooperation. We'll go to you, sir. Please introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I am Giuseppe Guerini. I am from Europe, from Italy, and I am president of the CECOP, the European Confederation of Workers, Social and Industrial Cooperative. I represent here also CICOPA, the Workers' Cooperative International Organization, part of the ICA. As a representative of the industrial sector, worker sector, and also social cooperative sector, I like to underline two things. The first concern a topic that is talked a lot about Europe in this last year is the competitiveness. I am totally agree. I share everything that we say this morning, but we need to recolocate in the international debate also the role played by cooperative on the global competitiveness. Because many people say, okay, cooperative is a good experience, but it's not competitive enterprises. It's not true, because we are really competitive. We are a very huge enterprises, but whole competitiveness is a better competitiveness, because it's a competitiveness inclusive, that don't leave nothing behind. This is important to recollocate on the international debate. The second issue is about care. Social cooperative play a very important role about the care. And I am very happy and I thanks the ILO, because in the last conference in the ILO, they dedicate a very important space to the care economy. In my country, in Italy, social cooperatives is more than 14,000. And they provide services, education services, care services, health service for more than 7 million of people in Italy. And so we are very part of the future for the work, and the future of the labor for the work, and the future for the care for people. And we need to play this role to reduce inequality. The last sentence is about Europe and about cooperative. What we can do. Matthias tell about the new European Parliament, but also new Commission. We are working now with the Commission about the European status for cooperatives. And I can announce that in the 25 year, during the year of the cooperative, I think in the month of March, we organized with the European Commission one conference about the statute of cooperatives. So we are very engaged to promote cooperative on the Europe and around the world. Thank you very much for your attention, and congratulations for this meeting.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for addressing these issues, especially of competitiveness and the care economy. I'm sorry because I see many hands, but we are running out of time. So I think we have one, maybe two interventions, and then we will have to wrap it up and follow up discussions separately. And we had one hand raised since quite a long time ago. Please go ahead.
So much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, ICA, for inviting me. My name is Radhika Jha, and I'm an educator. I work in St. John's University as Dean Graduate Programs. So I have two things which I want to share, one comment and one questions for our experts. So first, I'm really, really inspired by all these discussions today. I did not have much knowledge of cooperatives, but I will leave this hall with so much of inspiration. A comment is how I was listening to Dr. Mallika Kumar, and she talked about bringing more youth. So maybe at St. John's University, I can try, and I'm really inspired by this. We can bring cooperatives in curriculum. It's the way to increase awareness of cooperatives for the youth is to bring it in the curriculum, like how we have brought diversity and inclusion in the curriculum. So cooperatives is also a great model. We can also, if there are some educators here, we can also collaborate to start some kind of joint conferences, educational institutions, where we can bring in experts, cooperative speakers, a series of cooperative speaker series. That would be great to bring awareness among the students. So I will try my best at St. John's University to bring a lot of awareness for the youth there. However, I have one question for all the cooperative practitioners here, your experts. So today in this AI-driven, and somebody mentioned about AI, so this AI-driven digital world, what do you see the impact on cooperatives? Is it a threat or is it a challenge? Do you think AI will be helpful in, the cooperatives business model can be successfully, it can use and leverage AI in strengthening its model, or do you see there are more challenges? One challenge which comes to my mind, and maybe you can't probably correct me, cooperatives is like a decentralized model, and as far as I know, AI technologies, they work on centralization, a lot centralization of data. So what do you think, how this will be taken care of, because it's going to impact the very core of cooperative model, which is decentralized? So I don't know, maybe since I'm not an expert, so probably somebody can answer or direct me to what would be the impact of the AI-driven business world for the cooperative model. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for your intervention, and I'm sure you will have the opportunity to discuss with colleagues, but maybe beyond this room, because we don't have much time to go through extensive Q&A. We have time for a last very quick question. Sorry, it was over there, and then. Okay, two last very quick questions. Thank you.
I want to speak in Spanish, my language.
Carlos Darcos is my name. I'm chair of the International Health Cooperatives, the small section of cooperatives. I would like to say that when it comes to the Sustainable Development Goals, we can't forget about SDG 3, which is universal access to health. I think that, as Malika was saying, with regard to education and health, if we deal with those, we almost don't need the others. And I think that the time has come now at the UN and also within our own international cooperative organizations to really focus on what the health cooperatives are doing in the countries where we are the first national health system. That would be the case for Brazil, for example, with Unimedo in Brazil, or what we do in Europe. We work together with public health systems, but I think we have to appreciate that more than 100 million homes have access to health care because of what we're doing. And I think that this 2025 is a good time to realize what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And so the last intervention, please, very concisely, if you can. Thank you.
Sure. Namaskar. Myself, Santosh Shukla. I am Joint General Manager, Cooperative Development in IFCO, India. I will add only 2 points. In the year of cooperative, 2025, apart from the awareness and other things, 2 things are in my mind from my organization. First one is youth. We are associating youth, but there is no startup in cooperative sector. Only startups in the private sector or individual level. So we were focused, and we will connect people, youths, to go for the startup in cooperative sector. In different, we will go for the skill development and other related things. Second thing is the question of the current era is the environment. Cooperative is working, some of the cooperatives, one Indian Farm and Forestry Development, our subsidiary, it is working for the conversion of wasteland into the forest area. So in the year of cooperative, we will focus on environment point of view. And one thing, just last, I would like to share that the event which we are planning in November in New Delhi, we are going to make it carbon-free, green event. So what we are doing, we are just calculating the carbon emission being done by the participants while coming from their home to the New Delhi, and the carbon emission during the event, during their stay in the hotel, and we will compensate that carbon emission by plantation of the tree. So we are starting that movement. We are just calculating the carbon emission part and the number of trees we require to plant in India. So we need to support from all of you for this, and we will make that event green event. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. This was the last intervention, and great to speak about greening the event. With my apologies to fellow colleagues for being a little bit late, but I think we had a fantastic discussion, and I look forward to further cooperation. Thank you again.
Dear colleagues, dear friends, it's my great honor to be the last speaker of today's event. Indeed, this event has been a huge success. It's a demonstration of the support and the important role cooperatives play in supporting sustainable development. And I think it's also a tribute to the work all of you do in your daily job. And I want to acknowledge that, and also to let you know that all the inspiring statements I have heard this morning are indeed the kind of things that motivate us at the UN to do our everyday work. As the distinguished delegate of Mongolia has shared her insights of negotiating the resolution that proclaimed the International Year for Cooperatives. We in DESA, as the Secretariat, we work behind the scenes supporting member states to do their diplomatic job. And it's very often, it's, as I said, we are behind the scenes. It's not always a glamorous job. It's a thankless job. But being here today, hearing what you have said, is the kind of reward and inspiration that will motivate us in doing our work. Now, looking ahead to the International Year of Cooperatives, I would like to share a few words. As the program said, call for action. I think it's fitting to end our session by calling for action, right? Because what makes a difference is action. Progress comes from action. So that I would say that to make the International Year a success, I will first speak directly to cooperative organizations and co-opters that the year indeed is your year, so that get ready for action and work with your governments, engage with your national committees, and have dialogues and consultations, and to identify challenges and the kind of success where you have done very well, to take lessons and to make your cooperatives more successful and stronger. At the same time, in addition to doing the wonderful work that you do to provide job opportunities for people, to help marginalized and disadvantaged population to work out of poverty, and to engage youth to educate the next generation. I encourage you to also engage in outreach, community engagement, to really, I hear what you were saying, that cooperatives do wonderful things, but sometimes what you do is not very well known. So I think take advantage of the International Year to engage your community, to do your outreach, to make cooperatives more visible and better known. And that, I think, is a very important area of activity and action that I hope you will engage in and move the, to expand both the awareness of your business model as well as to extend the impact of your business model. To member states of the United Nations, I wish to call on your governments to review your national policies and to see how you can make your national legislative and legal systems more favorable to cooperative enterprises. Because cooperative enterprises will help you to implement your national programs for sustainable development. Please partner with and leverage the power of cooperatives to accelerate progress in the sustainable development goals that you have committed to achieve through the 2030 agenda. To United Nations system, my department included, and as well as our sister agencies. Let's integrate cooperatives into our work programs and develop, in our work to promote sustainable development, peace and security, as well as human rights. Let's work with the cooperatives and, again, leverage the contribution of cooperatives to achieve the goals of the United Nations. And to international financial institutions, I also want to point out that the cooperatives are very important players to mobilize domestic resources to finance business, to finance sustainable development activities at the national level. So do partner with the cooperatives and support cooperatives, and to activate cooperatives as instruments to finance sustainable development, and to provide, to work with the cooperatives to provide financial services to those that are underserved. And as one of the speakers mentioned this morning, I think it's from Brazil, that where regular commercial banks won't go, cooperative financial services fill in the gap and serve the people who really need such services. So I think this is an area where international financial institutions can do a lot to work with and support cooperatives. Finally, I also want to thank all participants, all of you in the room, as well as those who are watching online on the streaming service, for being here, for sharing your voices, your insights, and your inspirational statements with us. I also want to especially thank the president of ECOSOC to out of her busy schedule during the period of high-level political forum to be here with us. I think that speaks volumes about the support that her personal as well as the member states of the United Nations lend to cooperative movement. And also to the permanent representative and delegation of Mongolia and the charge d'affaires of Kenya for leading the intergovernmental process that materialized as the International Year for Cooperatives in 2025, and also, of course, the charge d'affaires of India for being here, and for for India to host the big Congress of Cooperatives in November. And then I just want to once again thank all of you, not only for being here today, but more importantly for what you do every day to make a difference, to build a better world. So let's work together, partner, and make the International Year for Cooperatives a huge success for everybody, not only for cooperatives, but for the broader community and for the people that we aspire to serve and to improve their well-being. So with those words, I close today's soft launch event, but Before we leave, I would turn the mic over to my friend Joseph, who will share the most important information, that is where refreshments and a drink will be served.
Thank you so much, and thank you to everyone for this event. I think it was a good event. Now, to make the announcement about the refreshments, they will be at Vienna Cafe. We will give you directions on where to go, and also it will be our networking moment. But before then, we want to take a group photo. But also our friend from IFCO wants to give some souvenirs to the leaders, cooperative leaders.
Moderators, because they have done excellent organizing this event.
Microphone, please.
I would like my chairman to
Okay.
Felicitate all three moderators.
So